If you like what you see here, please donate to ModernPagan.tv. Just go to our website, www.modernpagan.tv, and look for the donate button. We appreciate your contributions to keep ModernPagan.tv on the air and on the internet. And now, back to live ModernPagan.tv.
Welcome back to Modern Pagan TV, and up now we have our next guest. He is an author, a teacher, manager of the wonderful band called Heartbeat. If you've never heard Heartbeat, you should probably, find some of their music and listen to it. It's totally awesome. And he's got this wonderful book called The Elemental Path that I've been sitting here thumbing through. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Marc Sylvir.
Welcome, Marc.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself and then your book.
About myself, well, I've been teaching for about 15 years or so. And the book actually is based on one of the series of classes that I do, which is an elemental pathworking class.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
The book has essays on the elements. It's got elemental associations. It has a center for each of the elements, as well as a full pathworking for each of the elements.
Oh, wow. It's got some pretty cool artwork in here, too.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm going to have to pick up a copy of this.
That would be madeofdesign.com, MADE of design.com.
Okay.
Give my friend a plug on that.
This looks really
great
cool.
interior illustrations.
So tell us some more material that's in the book. What are some of the aspects and elemental considerations, the characteristics, and so forth?
Yeah, I laid it out so that each chapter is about the same. I have a bit of personal story in each of the chapters. I have elemental associations drawn from many different sources, including, as I was talking to you earlier about, 777 by Aleister Crowley. Sorry, couldn't resist that.
Well, he's got a good reputation in some areas.
That's true.
But he does have a little bit of a dark side.
Yes.
But his knowledge and information is impeccable. And I have 5 or 6 of his books. I don't follow all of his work. But he does have some good information.
And actually, I use a little bit of his story in the book as well. One of the things that he was able to do successfully is because of his obsessiveness with detail. Was to compile lists of symbologies from not just paganism, but from Christianity, from any
very
type
eclectic
of religion.
approach to a lot of things.
Exactly. Any type
that's
of
one of the
religion.
reasons I like him and his work is because he draws from many different traditions as well. And to me, I find that very important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to learn a little bit about all of it so you can find the path that works best for you. And some people like to take a little bit of each of those paths, whatever works best for them from each path, and kind of make it their own.
Well, these elements of the 4 earth, air, fire, water, spirit, I guess, is always included.
Correct.
But those are traditionally with the Hermetic principles. Can you say a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, and actually, in that, and not on the cover, I really do consider spirit as the actual 5th element. Spirit is the personal will that draws all of your magic together, no matter which of the elements you're working on. And the final path working in that path spirit is actually set up to draw all the elements in so that you have them inside yourself and you're able to work with them. And if you want the base principles, well, they're in there. The base principles of the different elements, we have earth, which is grounding, air, which is usually labeled as intelligence or wisdom. Fire, which is the passion, the drive, sometimes the anger. Water, which is the more emotional of the elements. But all of these elements can be used, I don't really want to say negatively, but you have a dark side and a lighter side of each of the elements.
Yeah, yin yang, it's always a part of it.
Correct.
They're
yeah.
tools that can be used or misused.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, as any good teacher will tell you, you want to make sure that when you're doing something, you don't try to affect anybody else with it.
Right.
And B,
And harm none.
and
The
exactly,
Wiccan creed.
use the Wiccan read, yes. Which I'm not actually a Wiccan, but I definitely agree with at least that piece of it. And you have to take that into consideration. The one thing I find about the read is that you can't really do anything that is not going to affect something else. It's the old stepping on a butterfly in the past, and et cetera, et
Changing
cetera.
life on Earth,
Or
yeah.
the butterfly tsunami effect, or the butterfly effect as it was kind of explained in the movie of the same name. So what you have to do is try to minimize any harm that you're doing to anybody else.
Right. There's always consequences no matter what you do or don't do.
Correct,
Right.
yeah. If you're doing magic for a job, for yourself per se, for example, if you get that job, that means that somebody else does not get that job. Now, it's possible that that person may have been more deserving of the job or more needy of the job. So,
Well-
you have to take that into consideration. But there's always a balance as well that you achieve. And with each of the elements, I try to hit that in-between part, that balance between the darker side and the lighter side of the actual element.
Yeah, I don't necessarily look at it as a dark side. When I approach magic, I'm kind of working to do things in accordance to my will,
Right.
and aligning up all of the energies and forces of nature so that what I want or desire is likely to occur based on all the elements coming together. So,
Right.
and it's not necessarily in disregarding anything or anybody, but it's more of an alignment for myself and using the energies and resources that I can draw on.
Correct. Yeah. When you're talking, that's why I find it hard to put those particular concepts into verbal pieces. If you are talking dark side or light side or good or evil, you're talking absolutes. And there are no such
absolutes.
things as absolutes in the universe. B, you're also putting the human perception on it. It's your perception of good or your perception of evil. And different cultures, different religions, all the different pieces of the various neo-pagan community that's out there in the world today have different concepts of what that particular good or what that particular
Each of us
evil
takes
could
the
be.
training that we received or the books that we've read and uses them for themselves, and interpretations are always different and unique.
Right.
Precisely, yeah.
When I've done some magical work to, such as that, I'll add in there for, say I want the job, for instance, and I'll add something to the effect of, may the other person find a more suitable job or career choice that just really brings them much prosperity.
Yeah.
So that, excuse me, so that, so it's not the dark side or something.
Yes.
So they get something
Right.
good as well.
I always tack on for the greater good as well, because the job I may be applying for or the work I'm trying to accomplish
Right.
may not be the right thing for me at that time. So I leave that door open so that the right thing does occur for the right reasons.
And you're actually jumping a little ahead into my next book. 'Cause
Oh,
that's
wow.
also something that I do as well. Is when I do a charm, when I do any kind of a spell, I want to make sure that I take everybody else into account. I want to make sure that at least my intentions are pure.
Right.
And as everybody knows, intentions and intent are the base of our religion.
Right.
that anything that we do, it is our will and our intent. And if we put that quote unquote darker intent on it, the darker outcome it will be. You know, if you have that intent in there of this is for the greater good, or by the will of the universe, if it may be that.
Right.
You know,
The so mote it be.
as so mote it be. Exactly. Yes.
So very good. What else can you tell us about either this book or the next coming book? How you're combining the information, this leading from this into the next phase.
Right. And as I said, that book is set up as a textbook. It's set up with places where people can put notes.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that teachers, any metaphysical teacher out there would find that, hopefully would find that to be a fairly good
Yes.
beginner's.
I am teaching a course in magic and metaphysics myself, and when I saw this book and I thumbed through it, I knew I had to have it because this is an excellent textbook and reference material, and I'm probably going to prompt my students to also look into this and buy it.
That's great. That's great.
So I have a question. This looks and sounds from the description and everything, since I haven't read it yet, but definitely going to get one. It looks like it might be a really good one for like a learning coven as well.
Yes. Yeah. It actually
Great.
would.
Yeah.
It like I said, it provides teachers with a teacher's guide
Right,
on what
yeah.
the student is actually reading. It has places to take notes, and it has places for the students to actually put their own notes in. It's perfect for a teaching coven, and that's actually what I designed it for, is for teachers.
Really? Awesome.
You know, I am quite sure that anybody who would pick that up off the shelf or order it from, you know, any of the websites that it's on, which is,
A bunch.
yeah, the number keeps on growing.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was getting the information from
But
Laura.
anybody who picked that up off the shelf also, I think, would get a good basis
Right.
of what the elements are,
So it's a good solitary
so-
or group.
or group.
Yep.
Yes.
That's great. That is so cool.
Yeah, it is. You have very good references, and also you have a list of the various correspondences about each of them. And
Correct.
I like that because that's how we relate all the uses of the elements in the next phase of working with energies and their applications. So, good.
And another thing, you know, I mean, we were discussing symbology earlier. I have my list that's in there, and it's a fairly small basic list, and I actually had to winnow it down because Kian and myself, my ex, who is my was my high priestess, excuse me, would ask the students each to make their own list. So we would have this big whiteboard or this big notepad,
Right.
and we would be writing down their suggestions as well as our own and the basic ones that we know of. So I ended up with probably 4 or 5 Excel sheets, full of nothing but associations for the elements. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, I need to winnow this down to a manageable amount so that it will fit in the book, and each of the elements would have an equal amount
Yeah.
of symbology for it.
I went through several trainings myself and have copious notes to work from, and for the same reasons. That's good.
Right. Well, if you look at this, look at how thin this book is. See that? It's not like this huge textbook.
No.
So it's going to be great. Now we do have a question that just came to us.